Welcome, everybody. This is the 9th annual Southwest Ohio GiveCamp. So the first thing we usually do is get to know who we have, what's in the room. So I'll tell you first where everybody came from. This year we decided, let's collect zip codes and see where our volunteers are coming from. So these are the zip codes of all the people, the volunteers that have signed up. So it's called Southwest Ohio GiveCamp. We have a scattering of Southwest Ohio and a few Columbus people even also. So these are the people that are here. Now it's your turn to tell me who you are. So everybody stand up. Well, volunteers stand up, not volunteers. So, this is like the anniversary dance for weddings. This is the 9th annual Southwest Ohio GiveCamp. This is their first GiveCamp, sit down please. Yay, first time. Thank you. About second. Okay. Third. We'll let Mark you count. Fourth. Fifth. Sixth. Seventh. Jason's now. Eighth. I think you sit down there. Ellen, you're the only one left. It's been to all of them. Mike's been to all of them, I believe. I've been to all of them. David, how many have you been to?
How many have we had?
9.
8.
All right. Thank you, Ellen. So, a few things up front, a little bit of logistics and about us and everything else. Board of directors. Matt's here doing senior night for his daughter tonight, so he'll be back in a little later. Ryan Cromwell's not able to make it this weekend. Jason Roby's over there. I'm Eric Schwartz. There's Mike Theron. Organizing committee, the people I didn't already introduce. Angie Roby is leaning up against the post. Carrie Heyman is next. Kevin Heyman. David DeLella. Tim Lewis was out front at the registration desk. So most of us have blue shirts. I thought David already had one, so I didn't order one for him this year. I apologize.
I did.
How we do this, why we're a nonprofit, Pay It Forward Cincinnati is a local nonprofit, and we run our event through them. So that's how we get our 501c3 status and are able to do this event. Some of those people will be here tomorrow helping cook breakfast and stuff, so if you see them, thank them for helping us out. The other big thing we do is sponsors. That's how we put this on. That's how we pay for the food. That's how we rent the facility from Miami, everything else. We can't do it without sponsors. So our platinum sponsor this year is Engage Partners. They've been a sponsor, I think, pretty much almost from the beginning. Emeritus and Centric are both gold sponsors this year, so I know Brian Starr's here somewhere over there. So Brian's from Centric. If you see anybody that you represent any of these companies, or if you have anything to these companies, please help out our sponsors. Let them know you found us here. If you're looking for jobs, I know several of them are looking for people to hire also. Silver sponsors is Booz Allen Hamilton, Reynolds and Reynolds, Engage Partners. Bronze sponsors is Pinnacle and Burke, which for some reason the screen's not down all the way. Sorry, Pinnacle and Burke, they're both over here. So. And then we had some personal donations. Engage Partners has a program where some of their employees donate money as well. And then some people that signed up on the volunteer thing are actually donating money also to Eventbrite as well. So we thank those people also. In addition, we have in-kind donations. We have discounts from several food places. Marcella's Bakery, City Barbecue is providing a lot of the dinner tonight. Subway is giving us discounted tomorrow, and then Raymond's Pizza has always helped us out. That's always Sunday lunch. Code Magazine had a free year subscription out there, and Everleap provides sponsorship, or not sponsorship, hosting for a whole lot of the nonprofits, pretty much any of them we ask for. So. we have to thank Miami. Brad Farr is running around here. He's the tech director here, or assistant. I think he's the assistant to the director now, his additional title. Rod Nimps is the director here. He was here earlier. He'll probably be back tomorrow. So if you see anybody from Miami, thank them as well, because they give us a really good rate and a good discount for using this very nice facility this weekend. Contact information. A couple people asked some stuff earlier, specifically to the Slack group. We have a Slack group set up that some of the teams have things and they want to use it in there. You can use that link there to get to it and get access to the Slack group. It's swogc.slack.com is the actual group, but that's the sign up link there. Logistics things. The doors will lock starting at 8 p.m. Tonight we're open all night, but the doors will lock. So if you leave the building after 8 p.m., come in these front doors here, and there'll be a security guard there. If the security guard doesn't see you, there's a phone number on the door to make sure you call, and make sure you have your lanyard with you so we can identify that you're someone from GiveCamp. Schedule for the weekend. We had registration. We're here at Opening Ceremonies. We try to make sure we get that done in an hour. We'll have dinner immediately after. It should be, if everything comes on time, it'll be set up and you get it on your way out of this room. Team selection, we'll work through the logistics of how that works, but we're going to do that in this room here. And then we start development. And development goes all night tonight. It's open all night. If you want to stay all night, you're welcome to. Mike's going to be camping in the parking lot. If you need help, you'll have to bang on his door and wake him up. But tomorrow, they're going to have Engage, and some of the pay it forward people will be here for breakfast, making hot breakfast, pancakes and sausage and stuff at 8 o'clock in the morning. Non-profit stand-up. This is something we added a few years ago, and we'll get to develop our team lead stand-up in a little bit. At 10 a.m. tomorrow morning in the command center, which is second last door on the right, all the nonprofits, we want to get together and see how you guys feel your project is going so far. Get the perspective of the nonprofit, how things go. We did that last year for the first time, and it kind of helped to give us a different perspective, because sometimes we get different stories from the nonprofits than we get from the team leads. So at noon, right before lunch, we'll do a group picture. If the weather's good, we'll do it outside. Otherwise, we'll figure out a way to do it inside. I think we want to do it inside 1 year so far, but we'll see what happens. It's supposed to be windy and rainy tomorrow. So 2 o'clock is Kids Code Camp. So if you have any kids that want to come see what you're doing this weekend, learn a little bit about programming, you can sign up for that yet on Eventbrite. And then we'll have another nonprofit stand-up at 5 right before dinner, because a lot's going to get done between 10 and 5 tomorrow. And then dinner's at 5. It's cut off on the bottom. GiveCamp, the building closes at midnight tomorrow. So everybody go home and get some sleep tomorrow night at midnight. It will open up Sunday morning at 7 a.m. You don't have to be here at 7 a.m., but it'll be open at 7 a.m. We're going to have Marcella's Donuts for breakfast starting around 8. We'll have another nonprofit stand-up at 10 a.m., and that's the last one for that. And that the biggest question there will be training, which is next on the list. We're going to make sure all the nonprofits get training. So one of the questions on that Sunday at 10 a.m. stand-up is going to be, is your training scheduled? Do you have training arranged, sort of thing? We'll have lunch at noon. Closing ceremonies, we'll be back in here around 3. Those usually last a little longer, probably about an hour and 15 minutes or so, because everybody demonstrates the projects, etc., sort of thing. A few rules of Miami. Miami is a tobacco-free campus, so you're not even supposed to go smoke in your car. If you have to go smoke or something, you're supposed to drive off the campus somewhere and smoke, etc., sort of thing. That is Miami's rules. I already mentioned the building access limited at night, or it's going to be 8 o'clock, like I said. And that goes for tomorrow night too. From 8 to midnight, the front doors, all the doors will be locked, and you'll have to call to get in. So, and then just be courteous. We're all adults. Clean up after yourself as much as you can. Cleaning crew will come in and clean some stuff up as well. But if we can get our trash to the trash cans and stuff, it makes them easier to empty. So now, the main part of this is nonprofit introductions. So it's all where our volunteers are from. This is where our nonprofits are from. So they're scattered out also a little bit from various areas of Southwest Ohio. This map zoomed in a little more, so it's not quite as big a perspective because we didn't have Columbus in it, sort of thing. So with that, we're going to start going through, and they're in alphabetical order, so you can anticipate where you're at based on your alphabet. First up is Build It Challenge, and and I'm going to butcher the very first name. Matika Johnson.
You're pretty close. It's Motika.
Motika Johnson, all right? And then we'll also have the team lead come up afterwards for about a minute and tell what the technology is. So I'll hand it over. Selections later.
Okay. And I've got 4 minutes. Okay. So I started the nonprofit Build It Challenge when my daughter Emily was in 1st grade, and she's the kind of kid who expresses herself by making things. And you know, if you go through school and you're into sports, there's a huge community behind you for that. But what if you're into engineering? What if you're into designing and building things? Where's your community? So the Build It Challenge is in place to help students. Our mission is to build communities of makers, builders, creators, so that they can see that they're not the only ones who are inspired by this kind of thing. And gosh, the idea is to empower them, to build them up so they have the tools they need, they have the networks in place to make, build, and change the world. And I've got 2 minutes left.
You don't have to use the whole thing.
Okay. I can ramble on for hours. I'm really passionate about this, but I promised myself I would try to keep it short. So if you've got any questions about, we partner with existing organizations, and it can be, right now we have the Wayne Local School District is our primary partner, but we also have branched out and we've reached out to some homeschool groups. So we have them on our roster, and we have a website in place. What we need from you guys is that we recruit a lot of our judges, a lot of our help from the Wright-Patterson Air Force Base and other pools of engineers, developers, and people who work in fields that they build with their hand. We also have some helpers from the National Home Builders Association that come out and they interview the kids about their projects. So there's a component where they have to talk with these community volunteers. We call them reviewers. And right now this process is kind of awkward. It's on a piece of paper and the reviewer stands there with a clipboard and a paper and they say, oh, that's very nice, and they write it all down. And then I have to scramble for about 20 minutes because we award prizes, and I have to figure out who gets prizes for which categories. So tonight what I need help with is to take this process from being on paper to being online. We've got we use Joomla on our website. We've got the place set aside for it. We've got a special administrator code, and I brought my IT guy with me tonight, who's my husband, and babysitter, so I also brought some fans of the Build It Challenge to help cheer you guys on. And we can just use some help, and if we can get this in place, I think we can reach out and help a lot more students. So thanks for your time and attention.
As she said, we're going to be starting it off with the not-so-GiveCamp standard, Joomla. I know everybody here is used to hearing WordPress every single project. So if any of you have Joomla experience, PHP skills, just want to work on a CMS because you love CMSs, please come see us. We'll be doing some forms and a little bit of hopefully some Joomla magic to make this work.
So next up is Camp Joy. Representing them is Kevin Hackman, and their team lead is Alan Garrison.
First off, I have to apologize. I'm not the guy with the ponytail Nate that you're used to if you've been here in the past, but he says hi to all of the past GiveCamp folks that have helped us before, so thank you for that. Our apps are running awesome, and the students that are using those, love them. So a big success out of GiveCamp from the past. So Camp Joy has been around for 81 years. We serve 3 primary populations. We serve youth in need from the Cincinnati, Dayton community, kids from low socioeconomic backgrounds, youth in foster care, serve through sort of job and family services or youth serving agencies, Boys and Girls Club and the like. We also serve kids from a wide variety of medical conditions, chronic medical conditions, diabetes, cancer, hemophilia, sickle cell, those sort of things. And then throughout the year, we're working with students. So a lot of kids from anywhere from Tennessee all the way up to Toledo. We're serving kind of middle school and high school students, and then do a lot of college leadership as well. And then we serve the big kids as well with our corporate programs, really just to help improve leadership with the adults so that they can then be better servants to the kids in the community. So try to get everybody from 5 years old to 105 and make some sort of impact in their life. We're located kind of near Wilmington, Lebanon area. That's kind of Camp Joy. So, and Michael over here is going to be your guy this weekend. He's not the talker that I am, and I'm not that great, so no. But he'll be out here, and you all will be helping us to create a bid pack system as we price out our programs. What we found is just some of the products that are out there aren't robust enough for us, don't have enough of the customization that we need, and are also really expensive for a nonprofit like us. So it really cuts into the money that we can then generate back and serve the kids that we do. Most of the kids that come to camp either don't pay for that themselves or pay a very nominal fee, about $25 to $50 to come to camp. So you all will be helping serve about 13,000 people a year. About 80% of those are kids in need. So thank you very much.
Hello. So for this particular project, I'm going to need some programmers. So this is not a CMS or WordPress or anything like that. I need some programmers. We're going to do a web application. What we're going to do is effectively clone as much as possible the system they're currently using. So it's something we can kind of sort of just copy and paste sort of what the current really expensive thing that they're using is, so we can get that up and running and they can use it for no cost. So my current thought is Ruby on Rails, but I am willing to go into any other particular platforms depending on who I can get for our project. So if you're a programmer, please come see us.
Next up is Consider the Poor. Wanda Baker is their representative, and Michael Harward is their tech lead. Wanda's not here.
Wanda is not here, so I will be double duty. Consider the Poor is a fairly new Cincinnati nonprofit whose mission is to raise awareness of the problem of generational poverty that exists. Cincinnati is one of the highest in the country. We have about 27% of the population lives in poverty, so we have a real problem. And so the nonprofit's objective mission is to raise awareness, and then they have training. They go into churches, community groups, businesses, and help them understand, one, the problem, and then two, some things that they can do to help bring people out of poverty. So they're brand new. They don't have a website, so we're starting from scratch. We are using WordPress and proud of it. And we are using, in fact, if you're familiar with the Fusion Builder framework that comes with the Avada theme, we're using that. So if you're interested in that, come join us. We minimum really only could use 2 to 3 people who are interested in doing WordPress development and learning Fusion Builder. If you have experience with Fusion Builder, I could use you for about half an hour. That would really help us identify some things that we're facing. Our requirements are identified, design's done, so as soon as we're done with dinner, we're going to start coding. So if you're a coder and you really want to get some work done, come. If you want to learn Fusion Builder, come tonight only, and then go on to another project tomorrow. It's up to you. So we just are making that opportunity available to everybody. So thank you very much.
So next up is Heartfelt Tidbits, Jody Pickering and Will Hawkins is their technical lead.
Hi, I'm Jody Pickering. I'm an AmeriCorps member serving with Heartfelt Tidbits this year, and Cheryl couldn't be here, the executive director, so she asked me to speak. Heartfelt Tidbits started about 10 years ago. Cheryl had a job that had her flying all over the world, actually, spending a lot of time away from home. Got an email where somebody asked, is there anyone around who can help a refugee who has recently arrived in Cincinnati? And she thought, I can do that. And 10 years into it, her organization has helped over 40,000 refugees and immigrants across the city. It is primarily, well, it's entirely volunteer-based. Even Cheryl doesn't get a salary. And the name Tidbits kind of sums up her mission, or the mission of the organization, that the government provides some small support early on, but what people really need are a lot of tidbits of care in order to get grounded and be here. So that could be buying a pair of shoes, giving a ride to a doctor, something simple. It could be really serious, helping somebody with suicidal thoughts, or helping them buy a home, finding a plot of land for them to garden for the Bhutanese refugees that have come here. And I'll give you one image, ESL class on Friday mornings in Northminster Church. If you walk in, there's about 60 refugees and immigrants, mostly from Bhutan, but Syria, Guatemala as well. And tables all around, all staffed by volunteers doing assessments to make sure they're in the right group. Then it ends, there's a volunteer leading an exercise class for some of the elderly. And so that's just one morning. And she's using Google Docs or Sign Up Genius, anything to try and organize those volunteers. And it doesn't work with the number that she has. So that's what these guys are going to do, which is amazing. So thank you for all of y'all's work. But to organize a volunteer bank is going to ease the pressure on the executive director, but it's also really just going to connect a lot of people who want to help with the people who need it. So thanks.
I think she exaggerated a little bit when she said these guys and sort of pointed to us, because my whole goal here is, to lead and have everybody else get so excited about Heartfelt Tidbits that they're going to be interested in working with us. So what she said was really important about the tidbit part from the perspective of the technology we're going to implement tonight. The organization really does a lot of pop-up volunteer support. So like she was saying, we need to buy a plot of land, or we need to ride to the doctor's office, or we need to buy a pair of shoes. And so what she really wants to be able to do, and I'm assuming you're on board with this as well, so I won't say we'll talk about her like she's not here. But what we'd really like to be able to do is take information about the volunteers. They give their time availability throughout the week. They give their time availability on the weekends. And when a pop-up need arises, we would like to be able to contact them as efficiently as possible. So if our preferred method of contact would be a text message or an email, and they respond quickly to that, we would like to be able to do that so that we know we can get to the person who's available at that moment when they're needed for help, and we can connect the volunteers who have expressed their willingness to be there with the people who need some support at that time. So we're talking about an integration between, like she said, we have Google Docs, we have MailChimp, we have Sign Up Genius. So there's going to be a lot of API work, getting those to talk together. We're going to be sending some emails to volunteers. We'd like to be able to use another service for sending text messages, perhaps. But we know what we want to accomplish, and I know there's a lot of technical competency here. So what we'd like to do is use that technical competency and come up with the best answers. So we really look forward to having you in our room. Stop in our room first before you go to other rooms. If we let you go, you can work in the other rooms too.
So next up is Home is the Foundation. Clayton Gent is their representative, and so we have a dual team lead on this one, Sandy Ritter and Kevin Hammond. So I'm not sure if both of you or one of you are coming next. Which one? Sandy's here.
Hi there, my name's Clayton Kent. I'm the executive director at an organization in Eaton, Ohio called Home is the Foundation. We also call it the HIT Foundation for short. We were started in 2003 by a local philanthropist out of Eaton, Ohio. She was born and raised there and really saw the needs even back then about affordable housing and homelessness in our rural community. And so she started this organization with I think two different things in mind, and we've evolved over time. One was trying to create affordable housing options for low-income people. So we own 60 properties. Some of them, they're all for low-income adults and families. Some people do pay fair market rent, what we call fair market rent, and others, about half of those 60, pay subsidized rent, which is subsidized by our organization. Another line of service that we have is the senior home repair program, where we work with low-income seniors so that they can stay in their homes and not have to potentially move in with family members or go to nursing homes. So we do necessary home repairs on their homes. So it could be a roof, a water heater, fix broken windows, all kinds of things that just help kind of cut that cost for them and support them with staying in their home. The third thing that we've kind of evolved into in the last 3 or 4 years is homeless services. The organization that was doing homeless services in our community ended up leaving, and so that was gone for our community. Our founder picked up that slack, and we started a 10-bed homeless shelter for adults. It's not enough. We always are full and operate off of a wait list. But that's what we can afford right now as a smaller nonprofit. I started in April with this organization. I was a board member for a little while before that, so I was comfortable joining them and proud to join them. But when I got there, I noticed the website was totally outdated. I was not listed as the executive director, which upset me, and I couldn't change it. So I had heard about this awesome opportunity from my former employer, and we came to this last year. So I was like, you know what, I remember them talking about Southwest GiveCamp and how much help it was. I'm going to see if we can apply for that. So I talked to one of my staff, Kelsey Richardson, who's here with us, or with me, and asked her, she's our grant manager, and so she writes a lot of our grants and pursues all kinds of different opportunities for our organization. Told her about it and said, go. And she wrote this amazing thing and gathered the story and submitted it. And so we ended up here. So I'm thankful for that. One cool thing, I have a minute and a half left. One cool thing that I'm excited about and hope to take home is that we've adopted or purchased a donor management software program called Neon. I'm not super familiar with it, but I'm learning it. We really want to integrate that with our website to make that more functional for people to be able to give easily, whether that's monetarily or sign up to be a volunteer for our organization, or even register for events. So that's one thing that we want to get out of here. It's impossible, nearly impossible, for anybody to donate or get involved or get really our story off of our website. So we want to relook at that. Again, we use WordPress. I'm not sure if that's a good or bad thing, but I'll probably figure that out. Again, a lot of this is just new to me. So we're excited to be here, though.
Did my job for me too. So as he said, they have an existing WordPress site. We're going to take that site, we're going to apply a new, more modern theme to it to give it the more modern look that they're looking for. We're going to move it to the free Everly web hosting as well, just to save them a little bit of money. And then probably the bulk of our work, besides migrating some of the content, will be plugging in Neon into the website. So if anybody here has experience with Neon CRM, we would love to have you on our team. And even not, please join us and let's help the homeless people in Provo County and get them what they need so that they can get better donations and better volunteers.
Next up is Miami Valley Community Action Partnership. Their representatives are Lisa Stepler and Chelsea Spoor, and Julian Crisson Hill is their team lead.
Good evening. Oh my gosh. Yeah, good evening. My name is Chelsea Spoor. I'm Director of Resource Development with Miami Valley Community Action Partnership. And we are so excited to be here. We talked a little bit about the number of people that we serve across Southwest Ohio. And in 2017, we served 25,000 people throughout our numerous services. So essentially, our mission is kind of twofold. So our mission is to work in partnership with the local community to promote self-sufficiency and independence. And so we have all of these programs that are combating the causes and conditions around poverty. And because of that, we have over a dozen different programs that span across 9 counties. So Lisa's going to talk a little bit about our service.
So here are all of our programs. I know you can't see this, but if I stood here and read all of them, it would take most of the night. We have offices in 4 counties in Southwest Ohio, Montgomery, Darke, Preble, and Greene County. As Chelsea said, we've served over 25,000 people last year. What most people know us for is utility assistance. So folks that need help with their utility bills, if their power's been turned off, they'll come to us, and that's usually the first entryway in. But what happens once they get through the door is we start connecting people with all the other programs that we provide. So like some of the other programs here that you've heard, we do some similar things. We have a self-sufficiency program called Getting Ahead. We have a new legal clinic where we help people that have had barriers to employment, predominantly dealing with getting driver's licenses back. There are 44 areas that people have their driver's license taken away that have nothing to do with driving offenses. So this is something that we do. We have homeless shelters, transitional housing programs. We have a transportation program where we provide assistance for people to get to work, get to school. We do car repairs for people who, if you're low income and your car breaks down, that's it, you're done. You don't have the $1,000, $2,000 that it takes to get your car fixed. So that's a big hole that we plug. We have an emergency services department where if people have a one-time need, if they're being evicted, if they need usually it's water, because even though our utility assistance will help with electric and gas bills, nobody helps pay for water in the entire area. So that's another need that we fill. What we do is we look for areas where we can fill gaps. And in this vicinity, Cincinnati, I think you said you had 27% poverty. We're way up there too. We're also dealing with a horrific food desert. Dayton is one of the worst food deserts in the United States, unfortunately. And we also get a whole lot of publicity about opiates. So we're dealing with a lot of really horrible issues, and we plug those holes. We're a member of 1,200 community action agencies in the United States, serving almost every county in the United States. It started in 1964. We've been around for that long, and we work in partnership with all other agencies. So my time is counting down. Please help us. We need your support.
So we're going to redo their website, and some of the needs that they have include being able to do some forms, like dynamic forms and things like that. So we're going to build it on Wagtail CMS in Python and Django. So if there's some Python people that want to help out, that would be great. And then if you're not a developer or don't know Python, we're also going to have a lot of content to move over and reformat and things like that through the web interface. So we can use some help there too.
So next up is Mommy Has Breast Cancer. Their representative is Charlene Iowa, am I close? And James Roberts is their team lead.
Hi everyone. Mommy Has Breast Cancer was founded by a young breast cancer survivor, Jocelyn Mays.
and she's actually a two-time survivor. But the mission of our organization is to support moms and families while moms are going through treatment for breast cancer. So we provide food, we provide transportation to and from doctor's appointments, housekeeping, childcare, childcare. And so we register moms, we want to be able to register physicians and coordinate vendors that are helping us to provide these services. And we have a website currently, but we're wanting to update it and make it a bit more streamlined. I don't know.
We have a website and we can collect data, but we don't know what to do with it once we get it in. So we need to build a system to help us manage moms' needs. Who needs food? Who needs housekeeping? Who needs transportation? There's also an option to sign up your significant other for some one-on-one guy support as mom is going through things. So we have male volunteers who reach out to the guys who are the spouses of these women going through this, and try to bring the family together at a time when a lot of families are struggling, especially trying to help the children understand what's going on with mom. We also send books to the kids, really super cute books. So we want to build some registry, some data management systems. Manage volunteers, manage what mom needs, make sure mom is getting what she needs, and make sure that we can communicate amongst our volunteers to get this done. The other important thing is that we're an all volunteer run organization. We're 100% volunteer run. A bunch of survivors, a bunch of caregivers, and some people who are really passionate about helping others. So we hope you're really passionate about helping us help families fight breast cancer. And Sherlyn was one of our first moms in 2011 when we started. So I'm so grateful to have her on the board with us. We love her. And I think that's it in a nutshell.
All right, so we need to make what she just said. We're gonna manage once someone asks for help, we need to manage the process from there on. We need to get them certified by the physician, and then track what they requested, like she said, child care, that kind of stuff. So we're making a custom solution. We signed up for the Everlead hosting. Got some databases out there to host the data and authentication so that they can do this securely. So we're using C#, ASP.NET Core, Razor Pages, MySQL, and SQL Server, and Everlead. So if you want some of that,
Next up is Nevertheless. Their representative is Doris Thomas, and their team lead is Michelle Hawthorne.
Hello, I am Doris Thomas, and I am the CEO and founder of Nevertheless. Nevertheless is a nonprofit organization for at-risk teen girls ages 12 to 17. We're our office is in the West End, known as a Charles. We work typically with the demographic of girls that have been suspended from school, girls that are first-time offenders in juvenile detention centers, girls whose mothers have had difficulties with them as far as having attitude problems, or they just need some help in putting them back on the right track. Our programs, we have an after-school program that is year-round. We work according to the Cincinnati Public Schools. Our after-school program is from 5:30 to 7:30 in the evening, one night a week. And we also have a summer program, which is called EVE, which is Emerging Virtuous Entrepreneurs. And that's a program for any girl who wants to enroll into the program to learn, entrepreneurship. Not only do we teach her those skills, but we also place them on jobs. And we give them jobs where they are working out in the community with many businesses such as the Cincinnati Herald, Cincinnati Public Schools, and whatever. So the girls are really learning to elevate themselves and bring themselves up out of the situations where they are. And I will turn it over now to Mika.
Hi, my name is Ramika Graham. You can call me Mika. I have started volunteering for Nevertheless actually less than a month ago, and it's been an amazing opportunity where I know the website development and some of the things that you all will be able to do for us will allow me to do the volunteer work I'm doing for them really well. I'm working as like a project manager / community researcher where I'm trying to identify some of the girls that we're reaching out to in the West End. Currently there's a lot of movement going on, such as housing development and the new FC Cincinnati Stadium that's going on. And so there will be a lot of different parts moving in that area, so it's good to get the website up and running before a lot of other things start taking place. I'll be trying to reach out to the Taft High School, which is one of the schools located in the West End, to reach out to some of the students. And what the website will help me do is register a lot of the students via a computer and be able to locate some of the PDF files to download and print off for some of the girls, in addition to locating different instructors and social and emotional instructors such as yoga instructors, psychologists through our website to be able to identify them. So I think I will turn it over to Michelle.
Before turning it over to Michelle, I also want you to know that what we need is we are already working with the Cincinnati and Hamilton County Juvenile Courts. We work with the Cincinnati Public Schools, and we're also working with the diversion courts. We need a way of linking to these places so that when a magistrate wants to send a child to Nevertheless, they can just go to that website and put that information, and we would already have that so that the parents' information and all of that is there, and we can then set the appointments to meet with the parent. That is one of the things that we are really missing at this time.
Hello, everybody. So the site is currently built. I'm using GoDaddy with Website Builder. We are open to using GoCentral. I think that's more of an updated version for Website Builder. But what we're wanting to do is definitely have some online forms, some registration forms that people can fill out, and that would go directly to the organization. We're also looking for some creativity to kind of like spice it up and change the themes, make it colorful, animation, things that would draw people's attention, especially to our Motivational Dream Center, which is kind of speaks to what the organization is, at the heart of the organization. And so if you have any skills like with GoDaddy or Website Builder, or I'm sure it's going to be some HTML as well. So we would look forward to having you join us. Thank you.
Next up is Santa Maria Community Services. Their representative is Sarah Steinkamp, and their team lead is Shraz Amen.
Hi, everybody. First of all, thank you for being here. This is so awesome. I'm Sarah. I'm here from Santa Maria Community Services. We are a social service nonprofit in Price Hill. We've actually been around since 1897. We were founded by the Sisters of Charity. It makes us one of the oldest nonprofits in this region. What we do is really help our greater Price Hill families achieve stability through a number of different programs focused on education, financial literacy, and health and wellness. We do that through our 5 different locations in East and Lower Price Hill. We have a wellness program to help uninsured and underinsured individuals find access to health care. We also serve a pretty large immigrant population in Price Hill, so helping those individuals to navigate that system. We offer ESL classes. We have a GED program, also a lot of employment workshops to help people work on their resumes and do mock interviews, work on their budgeting, credit, things like that, as well as a youth program where we work on social emotional skills, and we have a soccer team and do some tutoring over there. So we have a lot of things going on. Our goal is to help families become self-sufficient through all of these programs. Like I said, the organization's been around for 120 some years, and now this year is the first time we've had a designated volunteer coordinator on staff, so, and that would be me. So my job has been to kind of streamline this process. We have volunteers at all 5 of these locations, different times of day, working directly with a lot of different programs. So just looking to have a way on our website for those individuals to sign up and keep track of their hours, and for us to kind of keep track of that as well. So.
Cool. Like she's described, we're trying to make a volunteer tracking application. We're trying to build it off of the existing WordPress website. We're trying to have a separate standalone web app because it'd be easier for us to make it customizable outside of WordPress. We're thinking of a backend .NET Core with the front end in React, Redux. We already have some mock-ups that we want of what we want to build out. User screens, be able to create events, be able to manage them, be able to manage the volunteers, be able for the volunteers to sign up, log their hours, see their hours, all those kinds of things. We are thinking we need some people who have experience with C#, .NET, JavaScript, things like that. We already have a little bit of the code running, but we need someone else to help that. So if anyone's interested in anything like that, come find us.
Next up is the Testicular Cancer Society. Their representative is Mike Craycraft, and Sam Quarters, their team lead.
Hello, I'm Mike Craycraft, survivor and founder of the Testicular Cancer Society. We were fortunate enough to be selected as a nonprofit back in 2014 and developed a mobile application called the Ball Checker app. That's exactly what we like when we say it. We sophomorically put it at ballchecker.com. With the idea of our mission is reduce the burden of testicular cancer by simultaneously focusing on awareness, quality of care, and access to care. As a clinical pharmacist, I'm pretty good as far as taking people from their diagnosis through their treatment. I'm friends with the top experts in the entire world when it comes to this disease. I've worked in hospitals for over 20 years, so I'm able to at least irritate enough executives to get people in if we have to do that. But the biggest challenge we have is early diagnosis. When diagnosed with stage 1 disease, it's almost 100% curable, and the self-exam is really where that comes into. So having the ability to get that self-exam information in their pocket for people, guys to realize how easy it is to do, that it's effective, and that they're at risk. While the disease can occur at any age, it's the leading cause of cancer in guys 15 to 35 years old. So, you know, the mobile application really is key in doing that. We've had a lot of success. It's been downloaded in over 140 countries so far. That's about that simple.
So yeah, my name is Sam Quarter. As Mike mentioned, 4 years ago we did the original version of the app. Phones have changed a little bit since then. We're going to update the 2 apps. It's one for iOS and one for Android. We're going to make them look nicer on the new phones. The existing code base is okay. It's a little old, so we're going to update that to some degree, but we're not going to really overhaul it or anything. We're just going to make it look good. Ideally, I would need people that have Android and iOS experience, and you already have the tooling installed on your computers, because it's really hard to download on this network.
Next up is Woven Oak Initiatives. Their representative is Angela Pincella, and Christopher Strolley Davis is the team lead.
Good evening. My name is Angela Pansella. I'm here as Director of Woven Oak. And what Woven Oak does is we have our own programs under our umbrella, as well as we serve as a community connector. And it's our community connector identity that we are here tonight. So one of our big coalitions in Norwood that we support is called ASAP Norwood. It's Activating Substance Abuse Prevention. So it is a coalition that is dedicated to substance abuse prevention in the community, and we are dedicated to seeing how everybody has a role to play in prevention. So I've invited Lauren Bartosik to come up. She is also a volunteer with ASAP Norwood, who has a lot of expertise on prevention. So she's going to tell you a little bit about that.
Thanks. I actually thought we were going to go first because I'm here with ASAP Norwood, and in fact, we are going last because we were with Norwood. Oh, second to last. Oh, so close. So, I had lots of time to think. So ASAP Norwood Activating Substance Abuse Prevention is the coalition that stands in Norwood, Ohio. And so we have been around since about 2012 with our primary goal to, like Angela said, remind that everyone has a role to play in prevention. So we focus all the way from youth prevention up through current users of tobacco and other products. Most recently doing some work on medication-assisted treatment in Norwood at our local Brightview Clinic. Really, when we think about prevention, one of the things that I'm really thankful for in being here is that we want to be accessible to our population, and having website developers and increasing the, what I would call the infrastructure of our website. So what it looks like, how to access it, the ease of access on our site is something that I'm really looking forward to working through, so that if people come to our website and when they come, they can easily see who we are, what our mission is, what programs we're currently doing in Norwood, how we're servicing Norwood, as well as all of the connections and resources that we have, the partnerships that we're involved in throughout Cincinnati. And so that's something that I'm looking for in terms of our website. In terms of all the other people that are here, I'm super, super thankful to be here with all the other nonprofits. Sounds like there's a lot of people that we should connect with in terms of addressing the role that poverty has to play, and across this region, particularly in regards to substance use and substance misuse and abuse and addiction in all of these populations. So I'm super glad to be here.
All right, so kind of like you said, we're just trying to basically get this website revamped. We're trying to get more exposure to it, things along those lines. Some of the key things that I think we're going to want is people who've had experience with Google Analytics, the webmaster tools. We're trying to upgrade the SEO stuff in this. The platform we're doing this on is Weebly.com, and we don't plan to move off of that. So what that basically means from a development standpoint is we're kind of restricted to their templating system, which is kind of a mustache/handlebar type of templating system with JavaScript, less, and HTML. And we can kind of download that and work with that separately, but I don't know that we can actually see that until we've actually put it up to the site. That's one of the challenges or limitations we'll have there. That being said, I think that it would be great if we can get some good designers on this early on to kind of see how best to revamp this site. And we've got a number of these the initiatives kind of already taken care of, but I would definitely like to see a lot of improvement over the weekend if we can. So it's kind of a wide open area where the more improvements we can get, the better. But we'll take what we can get. So.
And last but not least is the Yellow Spring Senior Citizens. Karen Wolford is their representative with Mark, who, and I always pronounce your last name wrong, I'm sorry, Costillo, as the team lead.
I really feel last but not least, but I am last. And I first want you to, I know you've been sitting for a long time, what do you think of when you think of senior citizens? Yeah, old people. I will tell you that the senior citizens in Yellow Springs are not like some senior citizens. We are not sitting around playing bingo, not anything we do at the Yellow Springs Senior Center. We are an active, very active senior community. If you are interested in wellness activities, we have an awesome Tai Chi class, Qigong, we do strength training. We also do language classes. We do classes in French, Spanish, German, and sign language. So we are ever continuing learners in Yellow Springs. We exist to help seniors remain independent. And I like to say, we want seniors to thrive where they want to be. And if that means thriving at home, we want them to thrive there. We have 4 main areas of service. We have a support services program that helps the senior navigate through Medicare, and if I know most of you don't have a clue what Medicare is, but anyway, it's a big thing for seniors when you get to be 65, and so it's a whole thing that you have to navigate through. We also help them if they need housing assistance, if they need heating assistance, if they need to find somebody who's going to work as a dental person for free. We help them find those things, eyeglasses, all sorts of things in support services. We also have a homemaker program where we actually have folks that are employed by us that go into the home to make sure that the senior has a clean bed to sleep in, a clean kitchen to fix a meal in, and a clean house to live in. So we provide that service to seniors in Yellow Springs. We also have a transportation program, and Robert's going to raise his hand, right? You're going to raise your hand, Robert? Yeah. Robert is our transportation manager. Just gotta raise your hand. We have a transportation program. We utilize volunteers. We have we always like to say a fleet of cars. We have 3. But we do have cars. We don't have buses and vans. We have cars to take seniors to doctor's appointments. Yellow Springs is a very small community in Greene County. We have about 3,500 residents. We have about 600 members of the senior center. So when there needs to be a doctor visit or a dental visit, or even if you want to go to a bigger grocery store like a Kroger, it requires transportation. And that's where our transportation program comes in. The last program that we have, or influence that we do, is activities. So those are all the things from the wellness activities to our language classes to meals. So all of those things are done for seniors. And the last but not least, we are the 2nd community in the state of Ohio to have the designation as a dementia-friendly American community. There are only 2. Yellow Springs is one, and the Findlay area is another. So if you want that kind of, know that you're making an impact, we have that kind of thing going on in Yellow Springs. We do things like flash mobs too, so we like to dance in the street. So it's a really great community.
I expect the flash mob this week.
Thank you, Karen. So what we want to do with this project is to build a nice, new, clean website. They have an existing one right now, but we're going to build a new one from scratch. I'm going to use WordPress, and we already have hosting with DreamHost and a WordPress installation ready to go. So what we really need is some good designers, UX web designers that can help us being creative and building them a nice, new, clean, informative new website. And if you have any WordPress experience, that's great. It's amazing how much you forget in each year. I've done this 4 years now, and every time it's been a WordPress installation, but it seems like it's the first time every time. So only once a year, so anyone with experience would help. So join us if you want to help us build a great website for these fine folks. Thank you.
All right, so now those are the nonprofits. Next up, or in a very short time, we're going to do team selection. I'll bring the map back up then. So once you select teams, this is where things are. The other note that's not on this map, because we thought of today, if you want to use your cup instead of getting water, there is a fill station for cups. It's over on the end and near 111. Across the hall from 111, there's a drinking fountain thing, actually a fill station, fill cups if you want to use that instead. So we'll bring this back around when we get back after team selection. In general, everything's over on this side of the building except for their Nevertheless and Testicular Cancer Society are right in the first room on the right over here. A couple logistics, team leads. The first stand-up, for those of you who've been here before know what that means, will be at 9:30. We say every 2 hours, but that schedule changes based on needs. We'll have 2 tonight usually, and then we'll schedule 1 tomorrow morning. We'll have a job board in the command center, which is on the right on this side, room 123. So if you're missing something, need this skill, we'll keep it on the board. We've reached out to people virtually and stuff before and got answers and things like that if people are stuck on things. We usually keep a call me list too, say I'm going home, but if someone needs this, call me and I'll come back and help sort of thing. Just a reminder that we're closing tomorrow night. If you have any special dietary needs, please let us know so we can try to accommodate you. As far as that goes, we tried to accommodate you tonight, but City Barbecue donated the meat for tonight. We asked for half chicken and half pork. I just found out they gave us all pork, but they donated it for free. So I apologize for those of you that cannot eat pork, but we got it for free, so we couldn't really complain.
We do have mac and cheese and vegetarian pasta out there though too. So just FYI.
So quickly before your team selection, a few lessons learned. The rule we've always operated in is the Vegas rule. What happens at GiveCamp stays at GiveCamp in a different context than Vegas though. Meaning you volunteered your time to be here this weekend. You're not expected to serve this nonprofit the rest of your life or 6 months from now even. If you want to, that's fine. We have a lot of people that do, a lot of team leads especially like to help them out later as far as answer questions, things like that, but that is completely your choice. You committed and volunteered for this weekend and that's where your obligation ends. I mentioned earlier about training. Some of the projects in the past have been wasted with training, especially when we talk to other give camps around the country. We're not the only one that does give camp. It wasn't our idea, and they do training. So we're going to emphasize that, I said multiple times, to make sure there's training scheduled for your nonprofit. The other thing we found and run into issues ourselves, even with some projects, is have something deployable early and often. If you can get something before you go out the door tonight, actually, even that actually runs, that would be great. And at least every few hours after that. And then if you have downtime, because there always is, sometimes you're installing plugins, waiting for things to upload, things like that, check with some of the other teams. We tried to organize the rooms by technology that we thought are new. Some of the technologies have changed from the list that I saw even earlier this week when I made the room assignments. So check around even in your room if other teams need some help, etc. sort of thing. And if your team's wrapping things up, feel free to go help other teams. It's not a competition, we're all trying to help everybody out. The goal is to have 12 completed projects by Sunday afternoon. So, team selection. Team leads, I gave you all the signs for a reason. Now is the time you're going to need them. In a few minutes, or a minute or so, I'm going to have the team leads stand up and spread around the room and hold their sign up so everybody can find where they are. A few rules before we do that. We want to have each nonprofit have at least 3 volunteers that's going to be on site most of the time. So most of the time doesn't mean I can be here tonight and not tomorrow. At least have people, so 3 most of the time. If possible, we want each key technology represented. A team lead can have more than 1 designer if all other teams do not have at least 1 designer. Because designers are always sparse, so one team can't say, I have 3 designers, and then so the team doesn't have any at all. Because that's always one of the things we have the hardest thing to do. And the number 1 rule is everyone must be in a team before we leave this room. And food's outside waiting, so the faster we do that, the faster it is. So if I get the team leads and the nonprofits to stand up and